So, infinite stamina. How to make an infinite stamina mod. It's really easy. I have done this video before, but that video was so bad, and it also had a glitch that we will fix in this cheat. And also, I wanted to talk to you guys about how to read the code and how to look at the code inside of the game and how it works. So, first we're gonna search for the stamina value. It's gonna be really easy to do in Dark Souls 3. Most of the games you can see when you can see a bar like this that fills up, it drops down and then fills up. Most of the time it's gonna be the value type. It's gonna be a float type value. But for Dark Souls 3, I don't know why the case is that, but for Dark Souls 3 it's a 4-byte value. So we're gonna search for a 4-byte value. Make sure to enable writable like this, 2 blocks. And then we're gonna search for an exact value of 94, because I have 94 inside of my game. Here, my maximum stamina is 94. Alright, so we're gonna type 94, and then we're gonna first scan. But before you do that, go ahead and set up hotkeys. Hotkeys are set up from here. You can set up hotkeys for next scan, changed value, and then the next scan, unchanged value. I set up those two values. Next scan, changed value to equal sign, and then to equal key in my keyboard, so I can use them easily inside of the game. So now we're gonna search for the first scan. First scan is gonna search for 94, and then after that we're gonna go inside of the game. We're gonna attack once, and then we're gonna hit changed value immediately, and then we're gonna wait for it to go to full health, and then we're gonna hit it again, the changed value. Next scan, changed value. Alright, so we're gonna do that now. 1, 2, 3. Changed, and then wait for it to fill up, and then say changed again. Alright, so you see all these numbers that are changing. I'm gonna press the hotkey for next scan, unchanged value, so we eliminate all of these changing results. So we're gonna keep doing unchanged. Okay, good. I'm gonna attack once again. Alright, did it. Okay, changed. Okay, good. Now we're gonna have all of these values here. When we select them, drop them down, put them over here, select them, and then add to the selected address list. Now, the easiest way to find out which value it is, just select them all, toggle all selected records, and then go back here, change record value, put them to 1, and you can see inside of the game the stamina value dropped down, and it tries to go back up, but it can't. See, it tries to go back up. So now we're gonna disable one by one. Alright, untoggle them one by one. The one that works, yeah, see, the final one works. So we're gonna delete all of these. So now we need to look at what instructions that are running inside of the game that are changing our stamina. From what I have seen, as you can see, if I lock this and put it to 1, see, the stamina tries to go up rapidly. What does that mean? That means there's an instruction that is running constantly, trying to put the maximum value, the value back to maximum. So we're gonna look at that. So now go to right click on that value, find out what writes to this address. Alright, say okay, say yes. If this step crashes your game, go ahead and to edit settings, debugger options, and then go to use VEH debugger instead of Windows debugger, and then say okay. Alright, so cool. We can see that there are 2 instructions that are running constantly. I'm gonna stop this so it doesn't lag my game. One of these 2 instructions is the one responsible for the change in our stamina. So now what we want to do is look at these instructions and determine which one of them is changing. So that is gonna be really easy. Since they're running, we know they're running constantly, so we can just go show it in the disassembler, and then we can see they're identical. You can't differentiate between them. They're identical. See, they're the same. But when we disable one of them, replace with a code that does nothing. Remember, we gone to this one, the one under, the one that is under. So I disabled that by replacing it with the code that does nothing. All right, when I go inside of the game, see, that doesn't affect the game. So that means it's not the instruction that we want. So we're gonna restore back to original code. We're gonna go back here to where the window that shows us which addresses this instruction accesses. Okay, we're gonna go to disassembler again. We're gonna select the first one, showing the disassembler, and we can see here it has different values. Yeah, I'm just taking a look here. Source. Okay, good. Here, this instruction here, if I disable it, that is here, when I go, it puts me here. I'm gonna disable it, and then you can see it does give me maximum stamina. It doesn't decrease my stamina. But, big but, when you disable this instruction and you go to load the game, go to another area, do anything, let's load the game and see what happens to our stamina. This is what I have done in the last video. I disabled the instruction, and as you can see, when I reload the game, the stamina is glitching like that. So it's not gonna be that effective, but sometimes it does not allow you to attack. So we're gonna fix that. So now we just wanna do a code injection. What does that mean? What does code injection mean? As you can see, the code of the game is this. See this here? These words, move, EAX, RBX, and stuff. This is assembly language. This is just a language that is made for us humans to understand what the computer is saying. The machine language, the language that the CPU and computer is talking, is this one. See these numbers? These are bytes. These two numbers are bytes. Each one, two pair of numbers are considered as a byte. All right. So these bytes are assigned to some function inside of the game, to some function inside of the CPU. This is just the language that the CPU talks and then lets the game execute the instruction. As you can see here, see this command here, return. This is nothing. There's no command inside the CPU that is called return. The command inside of the CPU is called C3. The byte C3 is assigned to a return function. It returns something to where you don't need to understand what the function is, what the command is doing. All you need to know is that there's machine code, machine language, and then there's the assembly language that we understand, humans understand. So how is the code executed? How is the code executed inside of the game? The code is executed from top to bottom. It's like a command list. It's like you are telling the CPU to do something, and the CPU follows this list from top to bottom. Alright, so it doesn't skip anything. It doesn't ignore one instruction or the other. It just executes the code from top to bottom. Alright, so now with that is known, let's say I wanted to make something where I don't want to execute some bit of code. I don't want to execute something of the code unless there is something else happening. We have some comparisons. We have jumps. I have comparisons and jumps. Jumps are instructions that instruct and tell the CPU to ignore some bit of code. See here, this command, compare, it's comparing these two registers, alright? It's comparing this EDI register to the RCX register. If they're not equal, if one of them is less than the other, if one of them is bigger than the other, the computer will look at these and compare them. Now we can make, after the comparing command, we can make another command, which is the conditional jump. The conditional jump looks at these two values, and then according to the condition of these two, it's gonna jump if the condition is met. So see here, jump short if not greater or equal. If not greater means it's less. If this thing is less than this thing or the other one, jump from here to here and ignore this. Alright? Ignore this code. These three commands. Ignore these three commands. So if you understood this, you will understand the next part that we're gonna talk about. So this is the instruction that we're gonna select, we're gonna modify, we're gonna go to Tools, Auto Assemble, Template, AOB Injection, and then say OK, say OK. So now, I'm gonna file assign to current cheat table, good. So what is happening in this code? Cheat engine will look, there's a command here, AOB scan module. AOB means an array of bytes. Array of bytes means these. These are arrays. Array of bytes. They're bytes that are arranged in some fashion or some sort. So we're gonna look at this array of bytes in Dark Souls EXE. We're gonna look at these array of bytes. We're gonna look here. Alright? So we're gonna rename, we're gonna store this thing, Dark Souls.exe. This is the address for the command. This is the location which is in the RAM of your computer. We are here in a location inside of the computer. Dark Souls.exe is somewhere in the memory, in the RAM of your PC. Let's go to the task manager. As you can see, I have memory. There is. Dark Souls is taking 5 gigabytes of RAM. So of these 5 gigabytes, there is a start and an end. Alright, so the program of Dark Souls starts at byte 1 and ends at byte at 5 gigabyte. Let's say. Giga means a lot of bytes. I don't know how many. I don't remember. Okay, so we just assigning a location to these values inside of the memory. And then these offset here determine which instruction that is inside of the code of the game. Alright, so the instruction here is stored in the address, in this address, Dark Souls EXE, where the Dark Souls EXE starts, and then go to Dark Souls EXE and add to it this number here. When you add that number, you will have the exact location of the instruction that we're looking at here. Alright, so here, when we go to the code here, so we're gonna store what's inside, we're gonna store this inside of the inject symbol. Alright, so the inject symbol. and then after that we're gonna allocate some memory. Alright? We're gonna allocate some memory. Allocating memory means that we want to make some room for our cheat, because if we don't assign a place to our cheat inside of the memory of the computer, the computer will not know what to do with this code. This code is nothing. Means nothing if there is no place in the memory for it, and then the computer goes to that place and then looks what's inside of that code and executes it. So we're gonna allocate some memory. Alright, we're gonna call it new mem. We're gonna allocate the memory for this address, which is this one. See? So we're looking at this. We're looking at this array of bytes, looking at them here, and then storing the value inside of inject. Okay, and then assigning this value another place inside of the memory, so we can modify the code and do whatever we want with the code. So the code starts in the inject here. Inject is this. See here, if I enable the script, it's gonna move, it's gonna rename that place. It's gonna call it inject. So inject is here inside of our code. What does inject mean? What does inject do? Inject jumps to new mem. Okay, jumps to new mem. Alright, so we are injecting here inside of this address over here. Alright, we're gonna move it to some place, other place inside of the memory. We're gonna execute the code that will write here, and then we are jumping from here to here, from inject to new mem. So how does that work? Let's go inside of the disassembler and see how that works. Go to follow. If we follow that, it's gonna put us here. See? We're not at Dark Souls.exe. See, there's no Dark Souls.exe. This is somewhere else in the memory. It's away from the game. See? So now this is our instruction back here. Where is it? Let's go back here. See? This instruction is over here. Alright, so instead of jumping to return, return is just a label. We were just labeling something. We're just assigning a name for an address inside of the memory. We're just assigning a name, a random name for an address in the memory, just we can understand this. The computer understands that this return means this. So we're jumping from here, jump to Dark Souls.exe plus 99. See, where is that? It says jump to return. When we jump from that, when we follow that, it's gonna jump under the inject. See? It just exits the cheat. This is a knob here, which means there's nothing happening. This does not do anything. So we're jumping after the code ends, after the injection ends. We're exiting the cheat. See, this is the exit. That means return. You can type exit here. Exit. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep it return. Okay, so this is the return. Now we are doing this code. We're injecting first, jumping to new mem, going to the another location, executing our code. The code executes from top to bottom. If I wanted to if I wanted to disable this instruction, I can just do this. Jump, return. Return. See, I'm jumping over this to here. I'm just skipping this. It's not like, it's like nothing happening. See, if I disable that and then say OK and then enable it again, and I want it to attack inside of the game, see, it doesn't do anything. I'm just skipping the instruction. I'm just skipping the instruction totally. So this is another way of doing this. Instead of going over here and replacing it with knobs with 99999, the offsets, this is just another way of telling the CPU to just jump over it to new mem to return. The return is here under the under the right instruction that we're injecting to, and then that's it. That's all that it does. So now what we want to do is to just type 100 here. I can type 100, and then when I go say OK, it's gonna work as intended. So when I reload the game, it's not gonna put my stamina to 0 or something. So that is how this works. This is how cheat engine and games and CPU works. So I hope you guys learned something. If you learned, make sure to check out the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe and peace.